Yeah.
All right, so this is the Unit 2 group. I think our name is Implicit Differentiation, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Um, so Chance wasn't able to be here with us today, but overall we succeeded in being able to do our lab otherwise.
Yeah.
Um, so for the first prompt, it says, what was the hardest or most unclear learning objective from this lab? Anybody have any thoughts on that one?
I would say maybe the last couple problems, but I think it was just because I was personally misunderstanding it. Um, as well as let me pull it up real quick. Um,
Are you talking about 4, 5, and 6 after the using the rules we have discovered about derivatives of exponential functions, find the derivatives of the following functions?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think it just took me a minute to sort of apply those rules correctly, but um, at the end of the day, I think we got it. And any that I didn't get right, you guys corrected me.
yeah, I would agree. I found that one to be confusing at first as well, and I got it wrong, and then I checked my work with like a calculator thing, and it was like, yeah, that's wrong. And so I looked at it again and uh figured out how to kind of do it a little bit differently. Because uh, I don't think I actually mentioned this. I got the same answer as you the first time I did it, and then I checked it and I was like, that's not right. Because I had originally gotten the ln thing because based off of the rule, like, you kind of assume that you would get like 5ex ln 5ex or whatever.
Yeah,
And so after I checked it, then I realized that you would have to just get 5ex again. But yeah.
yeah, definitely looking back helps on this. This lab was pretty intuitive with the just sort of walking us through it and uh figuring out the equations on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally, the hardest part for me was um under part 5, question 4,
Mhm.
just because when I was writing my notes and going through like doing 3.1, trying to figure out how to do it, the book doesn't offer an example with the exponent of a decimal.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of got confused. So I had to look up like online how to solve that and found like this little calculator thing, and I input the equation and it showed me step by step how to work it out. So that was probably the hardest for me.
Yeah, that one tripped me up at first too. But then I just kind of plugged it into what was it, the power rule. And I think it worked
Yeah.
pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
All right. So cool. Then what was the easiest or most familiar learning objective from this lab?
Um, for me personally, it was probably just the first couple pages because it was more so review and just sort of like walking us through exactly how to get to these sort of like f of x equals constant x, f derivative of f of x equals the constant. I think actually being able to see the graphs and be walked through the slope and stuff really helped understand that.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the first few pages were very familiar. We've been doing it for the most part of most of the semester and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I was also very lucky that my last group, I think his, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Jacob, he taught us all what the power rule was before we had actually gone over it in class. So it was already familiar to me when we were doing it. So that was useful.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I personally same. I think the first couple pages were definitely the easiest. The most familiar for me, I remember doing the once I figured out what find the normal line was, where you'd have to, it's pretty much perpendicular. So finding the slope for the normal lines
Hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
was like the most, like I remembered that. That took me back to, I believe, like a high school math class I took.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
probably like algebra like one or
yeah, that like that was like the most familiar, but it was pretty easy once I got the hang of it all.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I would say that was kind of difficult for me at first because it's hard for me to remember math from that far back. But I definitely recall it now after going through it, and I kind of like drew a graph of the first tangent line in part seven, and then used that to sort of go back and find the perpendicular line. Um,
yeah, I know you and I struggled to do figure out like how we were supposed to find the tangent line. Like we knew we had to get the derivative, and so we did. And then we were like, what do we do from here? And so Maya was like, oh, you just plug in the points with like slope intercept. And once I figured that out, I don't know about you, but that felt super familiar to me.
yeah,
So once I knew I was supposed to do that, then yeah, that felt super easy, super comfortable because yeah, that is like algebra one. So
yeah, for sure.
um, any other comments on that, I guess?
Um, yeah, I think I pretty much covered that part.
All right.
Pretty good with that part. So
Yeah.
All right. So the next prompt would be, what do you wonder about the lab concept still?
Mm, I'll definitely have to do more problem sets out of the textbook and stuff, but I don't really have any specific questions at the moment. I think everything that was explained in this lab, I pretty much had it figured out by the end of it.
For me, part six, I don't necessarily have any like questions on it. I guess I'm a little worried about it because I remember I think it's algebra two is when you start seeing logarithms and natural, what are they called? Like natural functions or exponents or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I remember the first time I started seeing those, I struggled so hard with them. So I'm a little worried to see where that kind of goes. Um,
Honestly, yeah, me too. Yeah, logs and natural logs, that's all. I'm gonna definitely gonna have to review that.
yeah.
yeah, same. It's been a little while. Last semester I took trig and I didn't really touch on logs at all. So I think my last time I touched on logarithms was like, oh gosh, was it college algebra or was it a chem class I took? I can't even remember, but it's been a
A
couple
minute.
semesters.
Yeah.
So logs are gonna take me a little while. I struggled with them at first, so I'm probably gonna go through that struggle again. But hopefully the lessons will make it easy to understand.
Yeah. And I think the labs like having the discussions and stuff usually help as well. So hopefully getting to talk to our teammates and stuff will help with that. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
hopefully I'm kind of curious as to see where all the logs and the natural functions and all that go.
yeah.
Yep.
Gonna be interesting.
Yep. Any other closing comments, questions, concerns, I guess?
Um, not from me.
I'm pretty good over here. I don't have anything at the moment.
All right.
Nice.
So yeah,
Oh,
bye, I guess,
yeah.
Professor.
I'll go ahead and stop the recording.